You are watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. From Toronto, Ontario, I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace. Ontarians go to the polls this week. We will talk to a Muslim organisation trying to encourage Muslims to vote. But first, some news headlines. Feds propose nationwide cap on firearms. Newfoundland and Labrador Muslim Association demands action after rise in hate attacks. Residents frustrated over string of graffiti and anti-Asian attacks. World Weather Group's UN issues starvation alert in east of Africa. And now, the details. The federal government has tabled a new legislation Monday, Bill C-21, that will freeze the import, transfer and sale of some types of firearms. It also includes a buyback program for prohibited assault-style weapons. In the words of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the nationwide legislation is capping the market for handguns. The new proposal is a departure from the government's initial plan to work with municipalities to control firearms. A spokesperson for the Islamic Cultural Centre in Quebec City welcomed the initiative. The mosque appealed to the government earlier this year to implement such measures after a tragic attack in their mosque with legally purchased guns in 2017 left 6 dead and 19 injured. The Muslim Association of Newfoundland and Labrador says concrete action is needed to prevent racially and religiously motivated hate in the province. In a press release Sunday, the association raises concern over a national increase in hate crimes. They note Newfoundland and Labrador is not immune to this trend. A video circulated online last week shows a man approaching two teenage girls and slapping one. The sisters who wear hijab say they were approached because they are Muslim. The president of the association says attacks like this will only escalate without further solutions. The vandalism of yet another mural in Vancouver, British Columbia's Chinatown leaves residents feeling frustrated. The executive director of a local business tweeted a picture of the damage Monday. She says the mural celebrating community was disrespected. The owner of another nearby store tells media sources that businesses are left to suffer when vandals damage their properties. According to the local police department, in 2021, reports of vandalism and anti-Asian hate crime increased by 425% in Chinatown. The police say many think the graffiti on the mural is backlash against the residents' recent efforts to speak up about the issue. Meteorological agencies, including the World Weather Group and its humanitarian partners, issued a joint alert today that starvation looms in northeastern Africa after 4 failed rainy seasons. This is an unprecedented climatic event, unseen in at least 40 years. The alert says the multi-season drought affects Somalia, parts of Kenya, and Ethiopia. UN agencies have warned that the failure to get grain and wheat to import-dependent African countries due to the Russian-led war in Ukraine have made the situation more dire. The June to September dry runs are expected to further add to existing food and water insecurities. And that's it for the news. Ontarians go to the polls on Thursday. We have been inundated with emails and lawn signs persuading us to vote for a particular candidate. To talk to us about a Muslim organisation that is trying to persuade Muslims to vote, we are joined by Talha Çelik, manager of the Canadian Muslim Vote. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Alaikum salam, Dr. Kathy. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Now, I know you've been very busy trying to do what's something called get out the vote, get the Muslims out to vote. What does that mean?
So getting out the vote is a strategy used by all the major campaigns and parties. This strategy concisely informs everyone which ways to maximize the participation of Canadian citizens in their civic duties. How we do this with Get Out the Vote in the Canadian Muslim Vote is in a variety of ways. Yesterday we were in Ottawa canvassing. Today we are calling one by one, speaking to every single person who has engaged with us and interacted with us.
Mhm.
Get Out the Vote could consist of our other type of campaigns, Muslim Vote Weekend, or at Juma prayer, first, second, third. You might have caught us in more than 80, 90 mosques we have partnered with in the last 60 days. So getting out the vote is as it stands. The vote.
When you say get out the vote and you're going to Juma, are you saying people of this mosque vote for so and so?
Of course, we will not do that because we are registered as nonpartisan, and also we are non-profit through Elections Canada and Canada Revenue Agency. How we will rather support this vote is understanding the variety of the vote. If Muslims vote a certain color or the opposite parallel, or another primary color of that sort, that's actually beneficial for the cause of Muslim democracy. So
when you're talking about vote a color, what does that mean?
So when Muslims vote for a certain party, and all Muslims in Canada are variously selecting their trust and their future in the hands of a party leader and all of their representatives, that is good for Muslims, because now all parties will understand the certainty that Muslims will put in the faith of the government and the system that is democratic.
So I just let me ask you about that for a minute. So you said that you're nonpartisan, so you don't encourage a particular party. You don't care who people vote for, you just want them to vote. Can you just tell us a little bit more about why you don't care which party they vote for as long as they vote? Why does that matter?
So being nonpartisan is a good thing for us, because it equips us with that idea where we will only see policy for policy, and we will see legal challenges as legal challenges, but we will not invoke the Muslim community to go a certain way, because we can't and we wouldn't. Nonpartisanship is where we don't align with any party, but that we facilitate every party be heard, because Muslims will use their insights, Muslims will get involved, and Muslims use their voice. When Muslims use their voice, then the reciprocity of Muslims with the process, with the procedures of parliament, with the processes of democracy, this becomes a more healthy and active participation and engagement and civic duty.
So on your website, I noticed you have a couple of campaigns that you're highlighting. You're highlighting the leadership race that's going on in the Conservative Party at the federal level. And you've also got a tab where you highlight the party platforms for Ontario, 4 parties, the Greens, the Liberals, the NDP, and the Conservatives. And you have 6 topics. I'm going to read them. You have healthcare, climate change, long-term care, education, transit and highway, and affordability. And you compare the 4 parties' platform on each of those topics. How did you choose those particular topics to write about?
So to address the federal component of the Canadian Muslim vote and the involvement of Muslim politics, the Canadian Conservative Party on the federal level had a leadership race, which is an annual general meeting where they elect internally, partisanly, their new leader. We're the New Democratic Party. We're the Green Party. We're the Liberal Party of Canada, all in that same boat where they were going to elect a new leader amongst themselves. We would be sure to cover that. Also, in all of the campaign
for Ontario, let's not talk about the federal.
for Ontario politics. For Ontario politics, all of the policies and campaign promises and platforms that the parties go forth with, we will underline them, highlight them. We will not annotate them. Rather, what we will do is make sure that voters have platform education through a grassroots foundation. If all of the voters are going to be informed, then they could make that calculation, to make that informed consent to go forward with their trust behind their leader.
And when you say not annotate, you mean you won't comment on the platform? You won't say this is good or bad? You'll just say this is what this party says on this topic?
Yes. So in a federal politics, Muslims really care usually only about foreign policy. How does this affect my own country? But my own country, the Canadian citizen says, is Canada. So what we need to understand here is that when Canada becomes more inclusive of the Muslim context in policy, and when Muslims vote, their legal challenges are taken more seriously. That is how Muslims could better honor their freedoms. The Canadian Constitution outlines voting as a responsibility. This is not merely a right or a privilege, but a duty, a civic duty. So moving forward with these campaign platforms, we can only tell everyone the fair field where we can say this is what they are looking for, and this is what you are looking for, and we are going to try to make a understanding with all parties. The Conservative Party of Ontario did not come out with a platform. So they came out with a budget. And when we informed Canadian citizens that are Muslim about the Conservative platform, we could only do that by analyzing that budget. But
let's switch gears a little. We're almost out of time. A few years ago, I went to a debate at a local mosque near me, and they were debating whether or not Muslims should vote. Believe it or not, this is still a debate in the 2020s in Canada. And there was one speaker saying, definitely we can be civically engaged, but we should not vote because this is not an Islamic legal system. How does your organization, the Canadian Muslim Vote, answer to these kinds of points?
So these brothers and sisters have fair concerns. Back home, voting, elections, leadership, politicians, politics, that could mean fatality, that could mean unemployment, that could mean really a hard life being involved. But our freedoms are protected in Canada. So we have to go forward with the system we are within. If we are not, then we cannot safeguard our Muslim perspective and context. We have Quranic teachings, we have Islamic teachings. All of us, in a mutual way, come and share these guidelines. However, these attributions also advocate that within the system we live in, we must take leadership.
Okay, and with that, we have to end it there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Kathy.
Thank you for watching Canadian Muslim News. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe. Stay safe and God bless.